I wanted to bring the car down some. I bought the new heavy-duty leaf springs from Mancini Racing. They're the factory. So the car kind of sticks up high, and I'm not going to put coilover suspension back here. So I got the 1-inch lowering box. I didn't want to get 2-inch lowering box. It seemed a little bit, excessive, but just something to kind of bring the back end down. Issue is here is this fits as long as you have this plate there, right? So you put this plate back, and that gives you the 1/8 inch space needed so that the pin, if you put it on there just like that, it rocks. But this also kind of keeps the one U-bolt in line. As it comes through here over the axle, it goes through the bottom mounting plate. But anyway, this hole here, this notch here does not fit in the actual axle mounts. It's too small, about 0.12, 5/32 or something. So I am going to kind of take this grinding wheel and a drill, put this in a vise, and just kind of go around it. It's going to be a bit of work, but go around it till it gets, till I shave off that 0.12 thickness. And then that can fit up in there. I've already bought them. I've already kind of gone through back and forth with Mancini Racing. This is the only thing there was kind of confusion on with them. All the other products I bought from them are pretty straightforward. And for some reason this is just kind of a bit of a nuisance with this pin here. So I'm going to do that and then see if it fits. Here's the same size hole that the pin and a leaf spring goes through, which goes in here. And you can see that it's that pin's too big. So I'm going to mark this and just go around it until this fits in here. Then I'll this actually goes here. This goes in the bottom, but this is a good template to use for what's in this mounting bracket here. There's a welded on bracket here that has a hole in it, this size hole that goes into your leaf spring, or the pin in the leaf spring. And then I'll show a little bit of what I'm doing here, and then hopefully it'll all work out. I went and got a new one of these so it was flat. Here's the end result. It actually looks messy, and that's okay. Again, this is all for fun, folks. But the hole here fits good, fits flat. It just doesn't look. I just got some marks in it. That's all. So I used this. And I was getting a rounded edge, just started rounding off. So then I took a grinder, just kind of got real close at the edge and cleaned up that edge. So manual labor. I don't know how long it took me because I got interrupted, but all right, let's see how it actually fits. Here's the before and here's after. I've gouged it up some getting in there. You can see it's a bit smaller. I'll try it out, see if it works. This goes in like this actually, and then the axle sits on top. Alright, let me lower this down some. Alright, it's in there. So I got a couple things I've got going on. I've got those spacers I was talking about. And then I've got a new sway bar. This is the sway bar here from PST, or yeah, PST. And the instructions, so it must go this way, because what it's saying here is, here's the front of the car. You can see this. This is the front of the car. The frame going this way, just like it is now. And then here's the bottom mount for the U-bolts on the bracket. So there's there's this. And so on this front side, as this U-bolt goes over the axle and through right. This is the inside U-bolt inside of this leaf spring, and I put this through this bracket that used to hold the old sway bar. And the reason why I'm putting this back in is because without that, the 1-inch spacer that I got doesn't fit. The hole notched for the pin in that's sticking out of the leaf spring causes the teeter. But once you put this back, everything rests in there real nice. The next issue I'm running into is this is on this U-bolt here. I'm supposed to add this mounting plate here, which is fine, because then your linkage for the sway bar goes from here. So as this goes in here like this, and mounts here, the linkage goes from this hole here to this hole here, and this is mounted underneath the lower axle bracket, leaf spring bracket, and then the nut. Problem with this is this is the shock. This shock goes underneath this leaf spring like so, and then the U-bolts come around as such, and I'll have another U-bolt on this side. The problem is the hole for this U-bolt here goes, if you put this here, you can see that it doesn't quite line up. That means that I've got to grind a little bit off of this side. Even if I turn it over, it'll work, but when you start applying pressure with that nut, see how this curves here? I'm gonna have to shave off some on each side so that it sits flat and there's not a space. You see, that hole's lined up, but it's got a gap. There's a space in between here. When you start applying pressure, who knows what this is going to do. I'd rather have it flat. So I'll grind down little by little each side here so that it fits flat under here. Or I'll just round these edges off. I might just start off with rounding the edges on both sides so they kind of conform to that shape. Now the next dilemma is, as this is here, right, as I put this on the bolt, my linkage can't go through this plate. So it looks like I've got to actually cut this plate off in order to make it work. And I hope it's all worth the trouble, because, you know, it's a lot of work for the end result. You get various end link bolts, or not various. You get two, a long one, this long, and then you get this shorter one, which I've tried first. But the caveat here versus the instructions is I left the old plate on that adapts to the original sway bar. I can kind of get up, there's a space, I could probably pull it over, but then it starts getting kind of out of sync. It needs to be, it says no more than 10 degrees. You get 10 degree play to move that around. So I guess what I'll do is I will try the longer end links and see if that kind of fits a little bit more organically. I'm trying to see what would work without having to modify any of the original components, and the reason for that is just the kits, when you get an aftermarket item to put on a car, you know, one, it's built to kind of improve and be better, but there's, in most cases, there's always some sort of finagling. You're lucky, or the engineers or designers did a good job if it just fits in there nice. So, but I wanted to kind of capture this component in case anybody comes across the same conclusion. They can see what it looks like. The end links aren't that far. It's not detrimental, but look how close that is to the axle, and it's not really landing on a flat spot. So I think I'm going to just try longer end links for now. The instructions call for putting this here. It's a little confusing on the wording, but I'm assuming this goes forward to make some more clearance. This mounts underneath there, but it doesn't fit quite flush, so I would grind that down. And then this same assembly here that you see, this here, this is the new sway bar. I have not attached it to the frame. What I was trying to figure out is whether to use these. Well, first off, I was determining whether I need to use this or not. And the reason is I have this plate here. This plate, you know, was where the previous sway bar attached to the linkage, the end links, sorry. And then this U-bolt would come through this here, and this has a hole in it and attaches to a stud. So it's a structural thing, right? So I would have to cut this out, which I would. And I may have to, but I think I'm going to go ahead and try it by reusing the old mount plate for the new sway bar. The car's on the ground, you know, it's on both its tires, it's supporting its own weight, and I'm going to go ahead and drill 2 holes and put the bracket. It's like a C bracket. And you drill a hole and put it through the other side, and then you're kind of adding your own mounts there. My only concern with this is the instructions do say that this should be straight up and down, and it's not. But I'm having a hard time visualizing how that would be better. And they make this sway bar, I presume, for pretty much, it's a universal kit for multiple Mopars, and they give you the long bolts and the short bolts. So these came with it, and these came with it. Significant difference. And I tried putting these on here, and it allows me to move this up there, but that's not where the diagram wants it to be. It kind of wants it to be down here on the frame. And the other side to it is this bolt's coming way back here. I feel like it's going to cause like some sort of binding when you hit a bump. Here, at least it swivels on there, and it may end up bending this bolt. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to try it because, like I said, the only other thing is to cut this out. And this is bent in a way like a configuration to have strength in it. So I'm going to try this and see how it rides, and then I'll send this linked video to PST and see what they think. If you have any idea or any thoughts on this, please let me know. I'd like to get it where it needs to be. If this is good enough, this is great because it kind of works out. But I've spent all day trying to figure out what configuration will work here. So I'm comfortable where this is landing. I'm just going to go with it. Like I said, I leveraged the mount pre-existing for the old sway bar. The old sway bar was mounted up high, and so this one here doesn't have a mount. So I've got to drill holes here. I've marked this hole. I've just kind of. So I brought this over as far as I could. Marked one hole, and then I'm going to use this as a template I'll take the nuts off here. Mark this hole. I'll drill 2 3/8 holes and then go up one bit and then work my way. Leave a nut on here. Work this around here and then slide this over and bolt it on. When I pull this over, it should give me the 1/2 inch that it calls for in the instructions. But then again, I'm not even following these instructions because it's somewhat different. Hell, I don't know. I'm just trying to get this damn thing done. That one hole I marked, and then I'll mark. I already brought the U-bracket or the bracket over to check where it would land, and then putting this here. It's hard to see, but there's a gray mark there. I'll drill that hole, and then I'll drill it with a bigger bit. Yeah, there's the 2 holes there. Yeah, there. Got that bracket in there. Now I'm gonna slide this over. See, so I got the nuts on. They're not tight yet. Alright, that one's in. It looks like it's in pretty good too. I'm trying to capture the end result here. You can see I used the short linkage. I maintain the original brackets for the old sway bar. Use the new mounts and mounted to the frame as much as I could, depicting the diagram provided in the instructions. And it goes over the drive shaft, and then right over here, the same on the other side. Capturing this, so we can see the spacers in here.